In my last video, I broke down what Claude skills are. Today, we're building your first one together. We're creating a TDD workflow skill. It'll force Claude to follow proper test-driven development. Write one failing test, generate minimal code to make it pass, then refactor. The red-green-refactor cycle, step by step. This is a real skill I use in my workflow on a day-to-day basis. Let me show you how to build it. Here we have Tracewell AI. Inside it, you'll find a .claude folder, and all skills live inside of .claude/skills. To get started, we just need to name our skill by giving it a folder. So we'll do make_dir .claude skills TDD workflow. Now, inside of that folder, we need a skill.md file. Next, we need to add the YAML front matter. Every skill needs a name and a description. For the name, we're going to call it the same thing that we had the folder name. So we'll name it TDD workflow. Next is the description. This is important to describe what your skill does so that Claude knows when to call it. So we'll say use this skill whenever you are implementing a feature using TDD. And that's it. So now we can get to the body of the skill, the actual workflow that's described. So what I want to do is I want to outline and describe what the true TDD lifecycle is. The goal of this skill is to implement a true test-driven development workflow. This means 1, writing the simplest test for one discrete piece of functionality. 2, run the new test and verify that it fails as expected. 3, write the minimal amount of code needed to make the test pass. 4, run the test to verify it passes. Repeat this until you've completed the functionality desired. So now we've outlined what the red-green-refactor process looks like for this workflow. Now, additionally, I'm going to add some notes on what not to do. So remember to never, 1, write an entire test file up front. 2, implement more than one discrete piece of functionality at a time. Let's try out our new skill. We're going to implement a new feature in Tracewell called the GitHub repository name validator. We're going to use it to validate that a given string matches the owner/repo format, like Rails. We're going to use TDD, and we've included that in the prompt. So once we've submitted that, ideally we'll see the skill get loaded in as we've just seen. So we can see here skill TDD workflow. By saying use TDD in my prompt, Claude was able to understand and pick that up that the skill should be used. We can see here it's going to write the first simplest test, which is just going to, given a string, validate that Rails/Rails is expected to be true. So we'll say yes. Next, it should run the test, and there it is. The method is failing, as expected, and so now it's going to write the minimal amount of code to make it pass. And this is what I want to do in the real world, which is just write the method and have it return true. So we're going to go ahead and say yes and accept that. Now it's going to run the test to verify that it passes. So now it's decided I need to drive out the actual validation logic. So add in test for an invalid format, for example, missing a slash. So let's go ahead and accept that and see what happens. Of course, our test failed as expected. We're returning true by default for all calls. And now it's going to go ahead and update the test to verify that yes, it includes a backslash. So running the tests once again, and now it's going to go ahead and add the what happens if an owner is missing. So we can see here we've unlocked a true red-green refactor workflow. It's going to verify once again that the tests pass. And now it's going to test that an owner's there, but the repo is missing. Now, if both are present, now it's testing for multiple slashes, so too many, and expecting it to be invalid. So we're seeing a true TDD workflow here. Now we're checking if the repository name is nil altogether. What we can see here is we're generating a lot of documentation via our test suite for all the various permutations that we cover. So we can see here a little bit that it's decided to add a few different tests at the same time. This is probably fine in this scenario because they all should be true. They're all things that should pass. So it's not necessarily adding new functionality, so I think I'm okay with that. That's it. We just build a Claude skill in under 10 minutes. One file, and Claude follows your TDD workflow every time. Now I want to see what you build. Drop a comment with the skill you're creating. And if you want this skill file plus my full collection of Claude workflows, I'll send them straight to your inbox. Links in the description.